Wow, a horror team beat in October? How original. I'll be honest, horror games aren't really my cup of tea, and I don't really like tea. I hate the idea of exploring creepy areas then suddenly getting jump scared. I'm more of a action horror fanatic, like Castlevania and Resident Evil. One day I was trying some classic games, then I came across some horror themed ones I really like. And oh boy, those are real horrors. Unlike the lame ones of today that are popular among kids. Seriously, what is this? Horror games don't necessarily have to be just walking around dark rooms waiting for a jump scare. It's also about enjoying the dark atmosphere. Haunted forest or mansion, eerie music and sounds, ghosts and demons, that kind of stuff. So without further ado, let's enter the spooky world of horror games. I'm the Big Bro, and these are my top 5 favorite horror games.
You're not who I expected to see.
Yeah, f**k you too. Hunting Ground. Starting with a classic from Capcom. This game is the spiritual successor of the Dark Tower series. You play as a young woman named Fiona. She wakes up trapped inside a shady castle after having a car accident. While trying to escape, she stumbles upon one of the creepy inhabitants. If Fiona wants to escape, she needs to explore the castle to find a way out, while avoiding the stalkers that are trying to kill her. Eventually, Fiona will meet a white shepherd dog named Huey. Yuki made Huey reach for items from fireplaces that Fiona couldn't reach before. You can also order Huey to attack the stalkers, giving Fiona time to escape and hide.
Shake! Good boy.
The puzzles in this game can be simple, but also a bit tiring. Some of them require backtracking, which means going back to the long road you took. And if you don't have a map or pay attention, you could get lost and end up running in circles. You can save the game with clocks. I found out late because I thought they were part of the background. And to make it more tedious, sometimes a stalker will appear with a warning. If Fiona gets hurt, she will enter in panic mode, which makes her roar like hell, but if she pumps her blood, she will fail and get caught eventually. And trust me, you don't want to get caught by those freaks. Reminder, this game comes from the same company that brought you Beautiful Joe. Okay, the last part sounded very pessimistic, but isn't that the whole idea of a horror game? Waking up in a place you don't know, hiding from freaks chasing you, puzzles that stress you out, this game really gets it. It may not look different from a typical horror game, but the dog alone makes it really worth it. It's a shame Capcom left it in the dust. This is kinda like Metal Gear Solid, except you don't have guns or combat skills, and you have this dog with the bite option only.
Horror games then.
What? Whoa! What the hell is that?
Horror games now.
Let's see how special you are.
Mama warned me about women like you. I was hoping she was right.
Resident Evil Village. aka Resident Evil 8, aka Ray Village, aka the game with the tall vampire lady, but we'll get to that later. This game takes place after events of Resident Evil 7, so if you haven't played the game yet, let me skip the spoilers. Long story short, you play as Ethan Winters. He's on a quest to find his baby daughter Rose, who has been captured by an evil cult of mutant lords from a snowy village full of monsters. When you get to the village, you start with basic weapons such as a knife and a pistol. But eventually, you can get weapons you find throughout the game or bought from the shady merchant, Duke.
Healing salves, anything you desire, I can provide. What are you buying? Just something an old friend of mine used to say.
Since this is a survival horror game, you have to explore not just the village, but also the homes of the mutant lords, and find clues of the whereabouts of the baby. And just like Hunting Ground, you can get lost easily without a map. You also have to solve puzzles, but not always you get a direct clue. Sometimes you need to check your inventory. On top of it, you have to run away and hide from stalking enemies. One of them is the vampire lady, Dimitrescu.
See? There you are.
Yeah, I know. She's not very threatening, is she? Just wait until you get to the dollhouse. Then you'll be really scared.
I'm not as kind as my dolls.
There's one thing I love from this game that makes me revisit. It's the fact that after reading the story, I can start a new game plus and carry all my stuff using a higher difficulty, and complete challenges more easily. Ray Village may have more action than horror compared to the last game, but that doesn't make it bad at all. I think no horror players like myself can enjoy it. Until you get to the dollhouse. Obscure, the Aftermath. You know what's scarier than a haunted mansion or a castle? College. Obscure is a horror game series where you play co-op with a friend. Aftermath takes place after the events of the first Obscure game. Because, you know, this is the Aftermath. Duh! We are introduced to the main couple of students in the story, Corey and May, on their way to visit their friend's Ben and try to smell dust from a popular flower.
Wow, what's in there? Everyone on campus has been making tea with this flower for a month. It's time we tried it.
However, smelling the flower caused Corey and May to have nightmarish hallucinations. This is actually a tutorial about basic controls. You can use melee weapons to break obstacles or fight the monsters with guns. Each playable character has a unique skill that can come in handy. For example, Sven can move heavy objects, May is the hacker, and Corey can climb on high places. You can save the game by touching a dark flower in the wall. After saving, the flower disappears, you have to save in the next area. That's not fair, it's just like the blended clocks in Hunting Ground.
Wow, that thing blew my mind.
My head is spinning.
This is basically a Ninja Drug PSA disguised as a horror game. The storyline is a little cliche, but the game itself is okay. You can tell this game was made by fans of the horror category.
It's okay. I've got a dose of high-quality serum.
Ow! You're a real idiot.
Drugs can make you see things that aren't really there.
Something's coming. Can you feel it?
Meanwhile,
Oh, nigga, don't hate me because I'm beautiful, nigga. Maybe if you got rid of that old yee-yee ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick, nigga.
Misao. A classic among the RPG horror community, made by the same creator of Mad Father. The game takes place in an ordinary school in Japan. A few months after a schoolgirl named Misa went missing. Suddenly, the school falls under a curse. Then our protagonist Aki hears the voice of Misao calling out to find her. And now Aki must find Misao around the cursed skull with the help of a shady man and a timid library girl, which you can give her a name later on. You have to explore the school and solve puzzles that you... Okay, what is it with puzzles in horror games? Seriously, they have more puzzles in the whole series of Professor Layton. I might as well should have done with the last top 5 puzzle games video. Sorry about that, moving on. Anyways, just like any other horror game with puzzles, you have to inspect every corner of the area while avoiding death traps. And trust me, there are a lot of them. Haven't seen many death animations in one game since Dragon Slayer. So if you're a sadistic player who likes game over screens, this game might be for you. This game is quite disturbing, as it contains scenes of bullying and other inappropriate stuff. So it may not be suitable for everyone, but if you can try it, it'll be really worth it. Ironically, the next game is more bizarre than Misao. But first, let's see the honorable mentions.
That really is the fun part of this whole technique. I have more pleasure just beating the brush than anybody in the country. I have people now that write me letters and say they have no desire to paint. They just bought a brush so they can beat it and take out their frustrations. That's okay. That's okay.
Blood Rain. You guys can keep them interest. I'll stay with the coolest vampire lady. Clock Tower 3. Pretty much like its successor, Hunting Ground, but instead of a dog, you fight up enemies with holy water. Dementium, the Ward. You thought the DS only had cute and colorful games? No siree. Fate, the Unholy Trinity. I am not a richest person, but I might be after what I witnessed here. Fatal Frame. The only game series where I sympathize with the ghost. I also hate it when people take photos of me. Eep. There's a reason why I don't like visiting museums. Little Nightmares 2. Don't you mean big nightmares? Manhunt. If you thought Rockstar Bully was controversial, it means you haven't tried this game yet. Only Way is Down. What? You don't think this is a horror game? Well, it is for someone who's afraid of heights. Ruler Rose. What is it in horror games that have tormented orphan girls as protagonists anyway? You mean Nikki. Even though I have no idea what I've been doing, it's very relaxing just walking around. Calling. Getting calls from strangers is a fear we all can relate.
That's a nice muscly throwing arm you got there.
Out of this house! Out of this house!
There are things in life that aren't easily defined.
This can't be happening.
Eternal Darkness. Sanity's Requiem. The very first M-rated game published by Nintendo, sharing the same console as Melee and Mario Sunshine. Alex, the main protagonist, gets a call from the cops telling her that her grandfather Edward has been found murdered.
Hello?
Miss Alexandra Roivas?
Yeah, who's this?
This is Inspector LeGrasse of the Rhode Island Police. There's been an accident with your grandfather.
The cops couldn't find any culprit for 2 weeks, so Alex begins her own investigation. Eventually, she discovers a shady book known as the Tome of Eternal Darkness, containing tales of people who found the same book. When you begin a chapter of the book, you take control of a character from the past. This is a survival horror game where you can experience several stories of heroes from different timelines, such as Pius, the Roman centurion, Paul, a monk during the Inquisition, and Michael, the fireman.
And what's left doesn't say much. Ugh, we don't have a single clue.
Well, you better find out who did this. I am not leaving Rhode Island until you do.
What sorcery is this? A spell? I am bewitched.
For weeks, I have dreamed of an ancient treasure, so precious that it changes all life around it.
I would like to compliment you once more on your battle tactics. Our enemies did not have a chance. Do you believe that it really exists, Centurion?
Each one has to complete a certain objective in the story by exploring the location they're in, but their path gets obstructed by monsters that came from the darkness. You can fight the monsters with melee weapons or guns. But some of them don't go down so easy with normal attacks. With the Tome of Eternal Darkness, you can use magic to enchant a weapon and beat it more easily. The spells are effective depending on the color of the monsters and your magic. So basically, this is just like Pokemon. With that said, that takes us to the main aspect of the game.
Hello?
You know, if you get sweaty and want to take your shirt off, that'd be just fine.
This isn't really happening!
The green bar on the screen represents the character's sanity. When you get spotted by and they will drain your sanity. It's okay. I don't have to worry about my own sanity. I don't have one to begin with. If the sanity meter is too low, the character will begin to have hallucinations, such as blood dropping from the ceiling, statues looking at you, knockings in the door, room turning upside down, and the scariest of them all, fourth wall. Damn, this game makes the DLC look like child's play. Horror games nowadays consist in interactive dark rooms and ripoffs of FNAF. None of them have deep stories or memorable moments. This one, however, is a very refreshing experience, so it's perfect for celebrating Spooky Month. I hope it gets a sequel sometime in the future.
When does the magic begin? There's no magic, is there?
Anyway, this is why Eternal Darkness is my #1 favorite horror game of all time. Thanks for watching. Have a very happy Halloween. Bye!
Eternal Darkness speedrun.
Face me, and you shall surely perish.
Well, that was a load of shit.